While we were trying to get this engine all tweaked and tuned so we could try to test drive this thing, we started having a problem, well, keeping the thing running and getting it back running again. Problem ended up being the rotor in this aftermarket HEI style distributor. The first time it stripped the little lobe inside here that locks it on the distributor shaft. So to fix that temporarily, I drilled a small hole and put a little sheet metal screw in there to help act as the lobe. That worked for about 5 seconds till it didn't want to start again, and then this time it just broke the rotor. From what I was able to see, the distributor cap, even though it's currently locked down, it did not want to stay really firmly locked down even with the little clamps that go on there. So my guess was this thing was just moving around enough that when it was running, the distributor rotor was catching on the edges and finally broke the stupid thing. Also, the HEI module that's in here is not the same style as the regular GM style. This is a little module with all the terminals next to each other on here. Something that's totally exclusive to some aftermarket setup. But you can find all this stuff currently online, but because it's not anything OEM, hunting this stuff down at a later date might become a problem, as is the case with a lot of aftermarket stuff. So this is going to go, and it's going to get replaced with an OEM Chrysler electronic distributor. But instead of using the Chrysler Ignition module, we're going to use the GM module so we can do away with the ballast resistor. I'm also going to try to fabricate a metal bracket, something heavy enough to act as a heat sink as well, and mount it in this general vicinity right here, so we can keep the wiring somewhat clean and minimized. So in the meantime, got to pull this garbage out, find some scrap metal so I could make said bracket, and then put all this stuff together. I'm also going to have to use some new wires, because these are HEI style cap wires. As you can see here, it's got the male ends, and these are female ends on here. Luckily, I found a whole set of wires for pretty cheap for a big block Chrysler and that ignition system. So I'll go ahead and throw that on there and save these wires for something else later on. I can always crimp new ends on there if need be, or use this on another HEI style setup. So let's go ahead and get all this stuff in. Stand by. We still have to mount our HEI module somewhere close to all the ignition hardware versus remotely on the firewall or elsewhere to keep things neat. Thankfully, my scrap pile provides. This bracket that I don't know what it used to go to is made just right. Got a tab right here with a hole to allow me to mount it on one of the mounting bolts for our ignition coil. I will have to trim off this other leg right here to get rid of that excess material, and then I'll be able to mount this whole thing where it'll still be grounded to the rest of the system. After that, just gotta drill a couple holes to mount this thing in place, put our goop underneath the module to secure it and keep it conducting, and wire this crap up. So let me go ahead and get this thing in. All right, we got our setup done. I trimmed the leg off the bracket like I mentioned. Got the thing bolted to the mount where the coil is at. Drilled a couple holes to secure the module. Got our goop underneath. Have the thing wired up, going to the coil and to the 12-volt supply. Got our distributor lines right there. So we're pretty much ready to rock and roll. At a later date, I'll hook up this tack line to this garbage, but right now we got to get the engine running. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Tweak the timing. Take two. Stand by. Number 3. Still not right. Might need to retweak the dizzy again. And again. Nah. Maybe this time. A little bit better. Maybe not. Maybe now. And she's dead. Take, hell, I don't know. Stay running, you bitch. Fuck. Fuck's sake. Gonna have to play with this damn thing to get it right. But she ain't right. Don't you do it. Don't do it. You bitch. Well, we got this thing running, and it's still running. I don't know if we're having fits with the carburetor or not, but had to play around with the distributor some more and play with the fuel air adjustments, all that crap. But we're running on our HEI stuff as intended, so I would call that a success. As far as getting the engine to a state where we're going to be comfortably able to test drive this thing, that's a whole nother story. So again, as far as our HEI conversion and the old distributor being installed in place of the other one, we're done. So we're going to move on back to the overall job of, well, trying to get this thing ready to hit the road. So stay tuned for more of that. As usual, like, subscribe, notifications, all that stuff. And gonna get back to working on this thing. Catch you later. Or a little bit. I don't know. Whatever.